Hello, hello, welcome to today's video, guys. So it is now that time of year where I have to use the ring light at 4 p.m. It's okay though, because that also means that Christmas it's practically here. I have been waiting for the Christmas season to start since like July. So I'm not complaining. The daylight changing situation, a little difficult to get used to, but other than that, I'm here for it. I love the holidays so much. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while now, then you know I'm all about Christmas and I get into the spirit very quickly. Some might say too quickly, but we don't listen to those people. But anyway, so today I just kind of wanted to sit down, and I have to warn you, I have no plan or structure for this video at all. I'm just gonna be babbling. So hopefully we get somewhere with this, but I talk about this subject almost every year, and actually this year I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it. However, when I asked you guys in the oatmeal recipes video on what you wanted to see, a lot of you said you wanted a video like this. Pretty much where I talk about some of the hard things that come along with the holidays, especially for someone who has struggled with an eating disorder before. The holidays can be a very hard time, probably some of the hardest time of year, because this is a time where people are eating a little bit more and probably working out a little bit less, because it gets dark at 4 p.m. and the last thing that you want to do is go to the gym. You just want to be like cuddled up on the couch, baking cookies and cuddling your cats and watching movies. Can you tell what I've been doing over the last few weeks? If you are someone who has struggled with your body image, if you've had problems with how you view food, if you've dealt with binge eating or purging or any other like eating disorder, like, this is a very hard time. I've had my fair share of Christmases and Thanksgiving spent with awful food guilt and terrible body image. And looking back at those times, all I feel is like just sadness, because I remember how miserable I was and how I could not enjoy anything about the holidays. All I remember from those few years that I had binge eating, it was just like, I dreaded Christmas, I dreaded Thanksgiving, I dreaded Halloween. I wanted nothing to do with any of that. I didn't want to go to any family parties, because family parties meant that I would have to eat the food that was given to me, and I had no control over what would be served and how much of it I would eat. And then the second that I would eat a little bit of something that didn't, you know, kind of fall into my plan, I would just say, well, fuck it, excuse my language, and I would binge. And having that kind of episode in front of people is even worse than doing it in private, because people are trying to have a conversation and you can see that they're relaxed and they're just enjoying a piece of pie, but that's all that you're thinking about. Am I gonna have another piece of pie? Should I have more mashed potatoes? It's probably the last time that I'm gonna have mashed potatoes or this pie, so I should probably have 3 or 4 more. And at the same time, you're trying to act normal, and when you're in a binging episode, there's no normal. Like, nothing about that is normal. Even talking about this brings me so much pain, because I feel like I'm taking back to like that moment. I remember thinking like, I am never going to live a normal life. I will never be able to just have a regular Thanksgiving or have a regular Christmas. I'm gonna feel this way forever. When I first got into fitness, my goal was to become healthier and to be able to walk up the stairs in my high school without running out of breath, which should not have been happening, to learn how to eat properly. And that seems like the right goals to have, but I had no idea how quickly it would spiral out of control and how obsessive I would become with food and how controlling that would be in my life. Do I wish that I could go back in time and change things? Honestly, I don't know. I do believe that, you know, things kind of happen for a reason to an extent. I think that it made me a stronger person. It definitely inspired me to have this platform to like help people in any way, shape, or form, even though I'm in no way qualified to give advice. And I've been asked to make a video specifically on like how I cured my binge eating and how I got over all of that, and I've never made a video like that, because I'm not qualified, and what worked for me might not work for you. I think that as far as fixing your relationship with food, it all starts with working with a professional, figuring out why you feel the way you do, how it all started, where this emotional connection to food comes from, and finding coping mechanisms in any other way, and actively working on listening to your body, listening to your cravings, honoring your cravings. Because when it comes to my binge eating, that's kind of where it all started. It's when I would crave something and I would restrict myself, and then I would allow myself to have a little bit of it. It started small and then it turned into this huge thing. But again, my goal with these kind of videos are never to tell you what to do, but to just help you not feel alone, encourage you to get help, encourage you to open up, to face it, because that is step number one. Like admitting that you have a problem. For the longest time, I avoided it. I pretended it wasn't happening. My friends would ask me if I was okay. My parents would be very concerned. Why aren't you eating with us at dinner? Why are you getting angry with us just for asking if you wanted to go out to ice cream or have this piece of cake? And I ignored it. I pretended that they were all wrong and that I was right and that I had everything under control, even though I didn't. So if you're in that position, I really encourage you to listen to the people around you, especially if you know those people have good intentions and if they're noticing something that you just might subconsciously be like avoiding. I might not have the answers for you guys here, but there are people out there that are qualified. There are so many resources that you can use, even resources online. I will link some down below if you guys are interested. And yeah, so I do think that in a way I had to go through that experience in order to just be able to understand what it's like to feel that way, because I don't think a lot of people do. A lot of people who have like healthy relationships with food will never understand how hard the holidays can be. And although now I have a healthy relationship with food, it's still something that's kind of in the back of my head. I still remember those days very, very vividly. You know, hopefully I'll never go down that road again. But I do want to talk about the fact that the last few months have been kind of difficult for me in terms of food. And it's so hard because I went through this period of time, right, where I was struggling and then I got myself out of that hole. I felt like I was doing so well in my relationship with food and like the way that I viewed it, and I was eating what I wanted to eat. Most of it was healthy food because that's what I was craving. I felt like I had a very normal outlook on food, on fitness. I wasn't killing myself at the gym. Another thing that came with my binge eating is, I will never forget this. I think it was a Christmas, it might have been a Thanksgiving, but I was at my aunt's and we ate so much food, and I remember like lying to my parents that I had to go home for some apparent reason. Maybe I said I wasn't feeling good or something like that, but I came home, I put on my gym clothes after eating like an insane amount of food. I completely had a binge episode at their house, and I went to my gym, to my apartment gym, because every other gym was closed, and I ran for like an insane amount of time, and I jumped off the treadmill and threw up because I felt so sick. Running and putting my body through that, it was just like, what are you doing? I had no time to digest anything, and that's when I realized, I was like, okay, I've hit rock bottom. I am, you know, it's a holiday, I'm at the gym, I lied to the people that I care about as to why I had to go home. I just threw up for no apparent reason. I didn't make myself throw up, but I threw up because I was like overly full and I started running. I knew that I had to talk about it. I had to like tell someone about it. And thank God I had very good people in my life, and I felt very comfortable opening up and being vulnerable. And I'm so grateful for that. And I know that not everyone has that in their life, but if you do, if you even have just one person that you feel like you could maybe talk to about this, I encourage you guys to do that, because I promise you that you'll feel better. Just saying it out loud and having someone listen to you about this is very helpful. But as I was saying, after the years that I had struggling with all of that, I felt like I had a few good years of recovery, right? And then, as you guys know, at the beginning of this year and at the end of last year, I started dealing with a lot of digestive issues, and I've had to cut out a lot of food that I really enjoy. Gluten, dairy, a lot of processed foods, things that I used to be able to eat on a daily basis and not have any reaction to. It's been kind of hard as someone who's like struggled with an eating disorder to separate the fact that I need to do this in order to feel good, because I don't want to be bloated. I don't want to look like I'm 9 months pregnant. Saying no to food that I like is hard. It's just hard because then I'm scared that I'm gonna fall back into the pattern of restriction and then binging, restriction and binging, and I never want to go down that road again. But I think me being aware of it definitely helps, and you know, making it work as much as I can. For example, if I'm craving muffins, I will make dairy-free, gluten-free muffins, and not saying no just because I can't have certain things, like trying to make it work as much as I can. Just being self-aware and being honest with myself is very important. Especially during this time of year. I don't know how helpful this video actually was, but I do want to thank you guys so much for watching. I don't make tons of videos talking about this stuff because sometimes it's hard for me to talk about it, and I really encourage you guys to just enjoy this holiday season as much as you can. Try and focus on things that make you happy, like spending time with those that you love, whether that be your pets, your friends, your family. 10 years from now, the only thing they're gonna look back on is the memories that you made at this time. I love you guys with all my heart. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more. I promise lots of very fun holiday inspired videos coming to you soon, and I'll see you in the next one.